Chapter 16. Blake was up early Monday morning. He was showered and dressed by 5 and feeling great. Maribel, Lucian, Ruby, and Teddy had all come over for brunch after church the day before. It had been such a fun time. Alexis and her family had joined later that afternoon, and the Petersons and Sykes families had sat outside in the spring sunshine, laughing and catching up until evening. Blake was so excited that Friendly was starting to feel like home again. Sweet scents drew him to the kitchen, where his mother was baking blueberry muffins. The aroma put a smile on his face. She was standing by the sink washing a pan when he showed up. "Good morning, Mom." "Hi, honey. I'm glad you're up early. I want to talk to you before everyone else is awake." Anxiety filled his chest. What was wrong? Were there still problems between his mother and father? She turned off the faucet and wiped her hands on her apron. "I know you made your father come out to California." "No, I just..." She held a hand to quiet him. "Son, I'm thanking you. No matter what you say, I know it was you. Your father hates cities. But he showed up wearing a suit and he took me to some fancy restaurant with a name I can't pronounce. And we actually talked. No grunting or ignoring what I was saying. He talked to me, and it was wonderful." "That's great, but I didn't do that." His mother shook her head. "You don't understand. We've been falling apart for years. You said something or did something that made him return to the boy I met in high school. So I'm saying thank you." Blake felt his cheeks warm. Jeremy and Maribel weren't in the restaurant for long. Every couple of minutes, Blake would take a peek through the kitchen doors to see if they were still there. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Jeremy had abandoned Maribel and Lucian. How could she be on a date with him? "We'll probably close up early tonight," Denise said. By 8 that evening, Maribel and Jeremy had been the only customers in the restaurant. Blake, Jordan, and Denise worked mostly in silence for the next hour. They exchanged work chatter when necessary, but the atmosphere was tense. By the time they left work, Blake wished he had never returned to Friendly. Was this all a mistake? This time, the drive home was full of regret. Why had he come back to Friendly? The house was bustling with activity when he arrived. Alexis, Doug, and the boys were over, so it was a full house. Blake walked in and forced a smile onto his face. "Our hero is here," Alexis yelled, raising her arms as if signaling victory. "Hey, Lex," Blake responded, his tone somber. "We're having a game night. Want to join?" "No, I'm just going to head to the basement." Blake wanted to sulk in silence. He didn't mind crashing in his parents' basement, but that night he realized he needed to start looking for a place of his own. Then again, if elegance didn't work out, he might not be able to afford a place of his own. The kitchen fell silent. His family stared at him. Blake felt like he was running in their good time. "Look, it's been a long day. You guys keep having fun, and I'll join next time. Just going to turn in early tonight." Blake headed down the basement steps before anyone responded. He cringed as he heard the quiet shuffle of chairs and whispered goodbyes. His family, who had clearly been struggling, was having a good time tonight before he came home. Now everything was ruined because he was upset. A few minutes later, his parents came downstairs. "Hi, hon. How was work?" his mother asked. Maribel was on a date with Jeremy, but other than that, things were great. "Oh, honey," she said, "I'm so sorry. They have a child together. Maybe that's all it was. He doesn't claim his son. Why would she be out with him?" "It's not for us to ask questions. Maybe they were talking about what to do with Lucian. You know that boy has been going around town asking about who his daddy is for years. The people here in Friendly are pretty polite. No one told him the truth, but it bothers me that he thinks that you're his father, and you just didn't care about him," his father interjected, folding his arms over his chest. "I know. He asked me if I was his father. I told him I would be there for him, and that if I was his father, he wouldn't just be meeting me now." "I think Jeremy is starting to recognize how much he's missed out on." Blake and his father both looked at her. Did she really think that that was what was going on? "Why do you think that, Mom?" "Well, you came home. Everyone knows you and Maribel have always had a special relationship. I think Jeremy is jealous of you two. That's why he invited her out to the cave that night." Blake felt his ears get hot. He had no idea his mom knew about the cave. "But that was a long time ago. I've been gone forever. Maribel and I are coworkers now. Well, she's kind of my employee, or I'm a manager or something like that, but that's it." "It's more than that," his father said. "What do you mean, Dad?" "Blake, we all know how you feel about Maribel. We know part of the reason you left is because she didn't want to be with you, and you wanted to be a father to that kid. Now you're back here and you've got a chance. I recommend you see if there's any chance that she wants the same thing. Well, she was out with Jeremy tonight. Clearly, I'm not what she wants. You don't know that. She may have been with him for a number of reasons. Mom, she was all dressed up with makeup and all. She rarely wears makeup. I could tell this was an actual date. You still need to talk to her. You don't know everything. Jeremy told me about a job in Denver. I think I'm going to fly out there and see about it. Hold on, son, his father said. Jeremy told you about a job in Denver? Yeah, it's supposed to be a pretty upscale restaurant. Might be nice to be in a big city again. I just don't know if I can stay in Friendly. Elegance is not going so well. Jeremy tells you about a job in Denver out of the blue? He seems to be encouraging you to go. Why do you think that is? His father asked. He knows I don't like small towns. But he also knows that you like Maribel, and if given the chance, you'll be the father to that boy he never has been. Never wanted to be, his mother chimed in. Blake hadn't thought about that. Was it possible that Jeremy was trying to get him out of the way so that he could have Maribel? Like to think that he and Maribel were together. After he left, Jeremy would likely abandon her again based on his philosophy about women. It didn't make sense. Jeremy had been in Friendly all those years, and he and Maribel had a child together. Surely, at any point, he could have tried to have a relationship with her. Why is it so important for him to have a relationship with her now? Blake asked. I don't understand what's going on. Well, think about it. If you were insanely jealous of someone, you might go after things that person wants, even if you don't want them, his mother said. It was strange to think of Jeremy being jealous of him. Jeremy had women and money, and he was a bachelor. He was flying back and forth to Denver whenever he wanted. Why would he be jealous of Blake, a divorced Army vet, and chef with PTSD? You're a good man, and Jeremy, no matter what he does, can't measure up to who you are. He sees that you want Maribel, and you want to be a father to Lucien. He's going to interfere. He's always been like that. He wasn't a genuine friend when you were in high school. His mother was right. Jeremy always seemed to have an agenda when it came to Blake. Yeah, he was always a little condescending. I just thought it was his personality. You're right about that, Blake. It is his personality. But you're so good. He wants to disrupt whatever you have going. He wants what you have and what you want, just so that you don't have it anymore. If you have Maribel and Lucien, your life will be so close to perfect. Jeremy wouldn't have that one thing he has always had over you. Blake hadn't thought about it that way. Maribel had been infatuated with Jeremy at one time, so he technically won that battle. Blake had always been Maribel's friend, but they'd never dated or had a non-platonic connection. It wasn't a secret that Blake had a crush on Maribel in high school. Everyone knew that, including Jeremy. Was that why he invited Maribel to the cave that night? Did Jeremy see impregnating Maribel and abandoning her as some type of win? It was sick to think that that was the case, but now his parents had put things in perspective for him. It was clear Jeremy was trying to disrupt whatever he and Maribel and Lucien were building. Thank you. You two really cleared things up for me, but I've got to go. Blake, where are you going? His mother asked. To get my girl.